It's 10:14. Have you got a teacher in the family or someone in your close circle of friends? How happy are they? It's lost its shine, hasn't it? Teaching, in the eyes of a lot of those who are engaged in the profession, plagued by shortages, burnout, and clashes with the government over wages. It does ask the question about what is the future of teaching as a profession? Can it continue to attract the brightest and the enthusiastic that are graduating from universities, because ultimately, of course, that impacts on all of us through our children and grandchildren. The University of Newcastle is hosting a 3-day Australian Teacher Education Association conference. These are the teachers who teach the teachers. And do they have solutions to the problems facing the industry today? Terri Bourke is from QUT, Queensland University of Technology, where her research focuses on quality in initial teacher education. Terri Bourke, thanks so much for coming on and good morning.
Good morning.
Is that a fairly commonly held view? Older teachers, are saying that it's not like it used to be and, the fun's gone out of it for me?
To a certain extent, yes. I think there are still a bunch of us who are the ever hopeful that are still passionate and committed to teaching and will keep the fire burning. But I think in general, there has been a lot of teacher bashing by governments in particular,
yep.
which isn't helpful, to be quite honest. But there's still a lot of us out there that will keep on going anyway.
So what would you analyse as being the challenges? If I stuck a whiteboard in front of you and gave you a whiteboard marker, what would you write up there about the challenges that teachers are confronting?
Well, I think there's a myriad of problems, actually. There's been a lot of interference from governments, a lot of regulation. Teachers can't just have their own professionalism and autonomy anymore. A lot of things are scripted, over-regulated, in my opinion, and to a certain extent, they're taking the joy out of teaching. Increased workload associated with those accountability regimes. But I don't think it's that teachers don't want to be accountable. They actually want to get back to their core business of teaching. And that's where the workload should be concentrated, not on all the other things that they have to do.
The reality is, in New South Wales at the moment, it's school holidays, as you probably know. There would be teachers at our schools around New South Wales preparing for the next term on their own time at the moment, wouldn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And a lot of that work actually goes unnoticed. Teachers are very committed. They want to do the best for their students. And if that means that they work in their own time, probably our own worst enemies, really. But they will work in their own time to get the best lessons together so that they can do the best for their students. So, yeah, they will work on their holidays.
So what sort of a position does this put you in as an educator? You're trying to create teachers to go into an environment that you don't think is necessarily perfect. How do you equip them with the necessary skills to navigate their way through?
Well, the research that I'm doing at the minute is actually on career change teachers. So we're trying to get people into the profession that have the knowledge, maybe that they've brought from another industry, and then we're trying to prepare them for the teaching environment. But you're right, it's a workload-intensive occupation, but there's a lot of talk now about well-being and looking after yourself. So we're trying to get that across in our university courses, that it is a job, it is a vocation, but things are changing where you have to look after yourself, otherwise you're empty, you can't actually give to the students. So we have to prepare them for the well-being of themselves as well.
Yeah, I don't want anyone listening to this interview to get a jaundiced view. Teaching would be a fabulous profession and would bring so much joy. I can't imagine any thrill in life greater than being able to change the mindset of a young person and to watch them achieve things. It would be just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I just wonder, working with those who've been in other professions too, Terri, is going around the block a couple of times useful in that exercise? Because you've pretty much seen and done it all in different environments.
Yeah, so look, what our research is showing at the minute, we've got an Australian Research Council project, which is about one of the solutions to the teacher shortage crisis, which is career change teachers. So these are people who are a bit older, who have maybe had life experience elsewhere, and can bring those experiences and skills into the teaching workforce. And so far, like, it's a 3-year study, but the data that we have so far is where we've interviewed 23 teacher educators to get their points of view to see if this is a credible pathway for people. And what they've basically said is that they bring a great set of skills and experience that would translate into teaching really well. In other words, things like that they're super organized, they're leaders, they're problem solvers, and they would go down really well in the school. And a lot of these career change teachers actually wanted to be a teacher when they were younger, but went in a different direction and have actually come back to fulfilling what they actually wanted to do in the first place. So their desire to be a teacher and make a difference has come back to them. So that's been wonderful to get those people that originally want to be teachers, but actually got put off by it.
Yeah. What do you make of this conference you're involved in? It's the final day today. Have you got anything out of it? Some take-home messages?
Well, I'm the president, so I'm a bit biased. Well, I'm the ex-president now. I actually handed the baton over yesterday to the new president. The Australian Teacher Education Association is one of the most inviting conferences and associations I've ever been associated with, which is why I put my hand up to be president. And it's been wonderful being here in Newcastle, University of Newcastle. We were invited here about a year ago from something different by Laureate Professor Jenny Gore. And I fell in love with the place and asked if I asked the head of school, Sue Ledger, if she would host the conference here. And it's been absolutely fantastic. And there's been a lot of take-home messages. We've had a keynote speaker from England, Professor Terri Bourke from Cambridge. Unfortunately, Australia follow England in a lot of things in education, and Claire gives a really cautionary tale to think about that a bit differently. So yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot out of it and I've really enjoyed it. And it's been great seeing a lot of friends from across Australia and beyond and catching up on all things teacher education.
Terri Bourke, thanks so much for sharing part of your morning with us.
No worries. Thank you.
Terri is from the Queensland University of Technology and the Australian Teacher Education Association. My daughter